right now. Is it good?
Tim, are we good? Yeah. It's 5:15. Thank you for coming to the regular scheduled meeting. Councilmember Huffaker, are you with us?
I am here. Can you hear me okay?
Perfect. It's perfect. Thank you. First thing we'll do is pledge of allegiance. Councilmember Atkinson, will you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. For roll call, we have everybody here, and Councilmember Huffaker is on the phone with us tonight. The first thing we'll do is citizen.
Present.
Thank you. First thing we'll do is citizen comments. This is a period of opportunity for members of the public to address the council on any matter, including items on the agenda. Do we have any public hearings tonight? No public hearings. We'll ask you to come up to the mic. We'll allow 3 minutes. Just state your name and address for us for the record. So who do we have first? Perfect. Come on up.
I'm here. I'm Heidi Huber. I own Simply Unique on the Avenue. This is my daughter. And I'm here to address the parking issue. And I know last week you guys weren't taking comments, but then ended up taking some. So we came today just in case that happened again.
And our address is 201 South Wenatchee Avenue. So I'm here to express our concerns about the reimagined South Wenatchee Avenue project and its proposal impact on our local businesses. While I appreciate the city's efforts to enhance our community's aesthetic, I believe that the current proposals may overlook crucial considerations of our small businesses. The project survey emphasizes the installation of medians along Wenatchee Avenue, which are visually pleasing, but could exacerbate our existing parking shortages. Medians occupy valuable space that could otherwise be used in alternative parking scarcity issues, which is a significant consideration for our businesses and customers. Additionally, the inclusion of bike lanes on Wenatchee Avenue seem redundant, given the nearby Capitol Loop Trail. Instead of investing in unnecessary bike lanes and parallel parking, we should prioritize maintaining angled parking. Angled parking not only optimizes space, but provides up to 40% more spots compared to parallel parking, but also ensures easier access for customers supporting local businesses. The businesses along Wenatchee Avenue cater to a diverse range of customers who rely on convenient parking. For instance, Bellevue Healthcare serves elderly and injured individuals who require accessible parking. Similarly, JD Beauty School students rely on the available parking that will no longer be available due to the parking lot they used to use being turned into Widener's housing project, the Majestic, which itself lacks adequate parking provisions and will further strain the Wenatchee street parking availability. Financially, a lack of nearby parking would significantly impact my business and the livelihood of over 20 vendors who depend on our store as a central hub. These vendors play a crucial role in our community's sustainability efforts by specializing in recycling and refurbishing goods. In conclusion, while I support progress and development, I urge City Council to prioritize solutions that meet the practical needs of local businesses. Exploring alternatives to medians and preserving angled parking are vital steps towards addressing our parking challenges and sustaining our community's ethical vitality. I urge you, as members of the City Council, to carefully consider how the reimagined South Wenatchee Avenue project will impact our businesses and our community. Let's collaborate to find solutions that benefit all stakeholders involved. Thank you for your attention to this matter, and I look forward to your thoughtful deliberations.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. There was a work session like you guys just mentioned last week, and I believe we have that on YouTube somewhere.
So
I just kind of want, like, everybody to know that's
Right.
something they could listen to also, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I was told it was no, it wouldn't be any, nobody would be able to talk. It was
So we came
closed.
today, because we didn't think we could come.
Oh, no,
last week.
no, that's great. I'm just letting everybody, if there's people online, they can look at it too, and then come next city council and express, their views too.
Perfect.
That's it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Nice. Couple, come on up, sir.
How you doing? My name is Glenn Wilson. I live here in Wenatchee. I'm temporarily homeless. I want to address a couple of things to the homeless people, how the officers are treating the homeless people, disrespect, like we're common criminals. We're not. We're just homeless, okay? And what I'm proposing to you guys, I ran the Salvation Army tent city like a year and a half ago, whatever it was, and I would like to have a piece of property that I can run a tent city so people don't have to be out on the street and be harassed by other people. I mean, it's common sense. The police come over there and they aggravate us. It's only going to bring it to a higher level. We worry about enough, worrying about crime and everything else. Girls are out there being raped while people are sleeping. It's not right. It didn't happen when I was at the Salvation Army. You know what I mean? It's ludicrous how we are being treated. By Salvation Army over there, I was the one bringing the garbage up from the river. Okay, I'm 62 now. I was 60 years old, carrying chairs and stuff up from the river, cleaning that up. Nobody said anything about that. I try to run a clean show. You know, you're smiling about it. I'm dead serious. Put yourself in our shoes. Be homeless for a week and see how it is. It's no fun. It's no fun at all. You know, just think about it. A week in the streets with us, you see what it's really like. Not sitting behind a desk and giving orders. All these new laws you got out. Can't sleep in a tent. You can't do this. What are you supposed to do? Tiny homes, we've been waiting for almost 2 years. And they're still not done. You know what I'm saying? Everybody don't have an RV to live in. You can't even do that in the street. Because then they put you in jail for that too. So what are we to do? This is what I want to know. Maybe the next meeting when I'm here, maybe I get some type of answers. So I can let the homeless of Wenatchee know. It's only the right thing to do. Just think about it. I'm good. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Manuel Valencia. I live here in the South Wenatchee. I want to say thank you, our Mayor Mike, for all these 3 months. We are happy with your service and all city councils, also with the police department and Dave for the parks. All the kids happy with the progress in the parks. So, and I want to say thank you. And also about the Lincoln Park, and some people told me, Manuel, can you make the petition around the beautiful playground? If you put a shells or something to cover, because when it's really hot, really warm. And I explain little by little, step by step. Now, I'm sorry, my English is not really good. I'm still learning. But maybe I can use the
Manuel, your English is, we understand.
My English is like when you go to the river and one piece of rock here, one rock there, so you jump it, but I'm sorry.
It's a process.
Yes, in the process, yeah. So also, I live in the Methow Street and I watch for too much time, especially in the weekends, Fridays, Saturdays, and a lot of kids, a lot of persons drive too fast. Methow, Chelan Avenue, and Walker. Wow, it's really, really hard to control these guys. So if it's possible, and one time in my dream is if any official, the police official parking in any alley, maybe catch these people, because pretty quick. And our house is your house. I have the special child with autism, 12 years old. We need to put a lock, every day because we need to try to control, it's hard, but step by step. In the future, if it's possible, put camera or speed detector or something. We need to do something, but I want to say thank you. And it's the first time I see you in the new building, and we are happy, and all the community happy with your service, my partner. So thank you very much, and everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Manuel. So I saw Captain Reinfeld back there, and I'm sure he wrote down Mehel, Chelan, and Walker Street. So,
Yes, sir.
yep, thank you.
We can start that.
Yep, I saw you writing that down. Okay, who else? Anybody online? Nobody online? Okay, we'll go on to our consent items.
Well, Your Honor, I'll move to approve agenda vouchers and minutes from previous meetings. Also, resolution number 2024-21, appointing Clementine Ballinger to the Arts, Recreation, and Parks Commission, as well as resolution number 2024-22, revising the regular meeting schedule and providing for special meetings for November and December 2024.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Rodenstein and second by Councilmember Hornby for City Council to approve agenda vouchers and minutes from previous meetings. Resolution number 2024-21, appointing Clementine Ballinger to the Arts, Recreation, and Parks Commission, and resolution number 2024-22, revising the regular meeting schedule and providing for special meetings for November and December 2024. Any discussion or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. We have a presentation from Wenatchee Police Department Citizens Academy.
Hello, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Detective Cook with Wenatchee PD. I'm here to formally invite all of you guys to the Wenatchee Citizens Academy. I know a couple of years ago, Mr. Cuevas went through it. We would love to have you guys there, especially Mr. Mayor. Seeing as this is your very first time as our mayor, there's no better way to get a better handle of the problems facing our citizens, but also build relationships within our department and get to know what our department goes through and what we do for the city than sitting through the police academy. It is free. Every class is taught by a subject matter expert who's currently working in the field, be it a prosecutor, the drug task force, myself, depends on the subject. And then we have actually moved it from Thursdays to Wednesdays to not interfere with city council. So if any of you guys are interested, my contact information is on the back. You can email me or just call me. I'll be happy to answer any questions. That invite also extends to all the city administrators and frankly anybody here who's interested. We will have flyers in the back as well. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them now.
So anybody, does it matter if you're in the city, county, we just invite everybody in our region? How's that?
As far as I'm concerned, if you live in the Wenatchee Valley, you're welcome to come.
Wenatchee Valley, great. Good.
East Wenatchee, Chelan County, Douglas County, City Wenatchee, anybody.
Does East Wenatchee do this, do you know?
They do not.
Okay.
We were talking about potentially doing a joint one with them next year.
Okay,
It's too late to do it this year, but I'll be reaching out to them next year, and we might have a bigger one next year.
Great.
what other questions do we have for Detective?
I don't have any questions. I'm trying to get two of my staff to sign up for it, so.
Perfect.
I'm
I love
pushing
it.
hard. We'll see.
I hope to see their stuff, and I hope to see at least one of you guys in there. Would be cool. If you It was what, 4 years ago you went through it?
4 years ago.
And do you remember anything?
I learned a lot. I learned everything. I just had one thing to do. It's drive the patrols. I was absent for that day, but
Hey, if you text me, I'll let you drive the car for this
I want
next
to
one.
drive with Tim. Yeah.
Yes. One of the options that you also get to do is ride along. So we get to go out on shift with some of these guys back here and go see the crime they're fighting. It's pretty fun. I know you rode with me one time.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Let's go see the real stuff again.
Thank you for your dedication.
It's a great program. Thank you for doing it.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank-
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Carrie Page, Director of Human Resources, and I have before you this evening an ordinance that will update our 2024 Management Administrative Classification Wage Schedule. The addition is the Homeless Response Administrator, and you'll see that on MA 12 of the attachment. And I'm here to request a motion to adopt the ordinance to update the wage schedule.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion for the city council to adopt ordinance number 2024-16, repealing ordinance number 2023-20, authorizing the addition of a new homeless response administrator classification to be placed within grade MA12 of the 2024 Management Administrative Group wage schedule.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Hornby and second by Councilmember Atkinson for City Council to adopt ordinance number 2024-16, repealing ordinance number 2023-20, authorizing the addition of the new homeless response administrator classification to be placed within the grade MA12 of the 2024 Management Administrative Group wage schedule. Any discussion or comments?
I just make a comment that I'm excited about this position and what it can mean for us. The laws or the codes that we passed are one thing, but I think this person is really the critical piece.
It's going to be very beneficial to the community. And have we had any interest here? Has it been posted yet?
We are waiting for council authorization
And then-
tonight, and then we'll move forward.
Good job.
Councilmember Huffaker, you have any comments for us?
Not at this time, no.
Okay. Hearing no others, all those in favor?
Right?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Carrie, sorry, why don't you tell us, so what's the next, so it got approved and now
Yes.
what's the next steps?
Yes, I think once we have this approval, we're ready to move forward. As long as everyone is on board to do so, we can start that process as early as next week. We'll put an advertisement out. We'll determine, I'll talk with Laura about how long we want to put that out, generally 3 weeks, and we'll go from there.
Great, thank you.
You bet.
Thanks for coordinating this and getting things together.
Happy to, thank you.
Thank you.
Public Works Director appointment. City Administrator?
Good evening, Council. Laura Gloria, City Administrator. The item before you is a resolution number 2024-23, confirming the mayor's appointment of Thomas Wacholder to the Office of Director of Public Works. So as many of you know, our beloved Rob Jammerman is retiring. So we started the recruitment process back in April. Had several different interview panels. We had additional partnering stakeholders involved as part of the process as well. Thank you to Councilmember Atkinson, Hornby, and Rojanastine for participating in that process. So that's where we are today. And so Tom he uses Tom instead of Thomas. Tom Wacholder formerly served as the Public Works Director for the City of Leavenworth, and also worked in the Public Works Department for the City of East Wenatchee. Also comes with some experience from the Washington State Department of Transportation. So lots of great varied experience for this very large department with lots of different functions. So I'm happy to answer any other questions about Tom's background or experience. If you have them.
think, yeah, thanks for letting me be a part of that. It was really cool, and he's a very impressive person. So I'll make a motion for City Council to approve resolution number 2024-23, confirming the mayoral appointment of Tom Wacholder to the office of Director of Public Works.
Second.
Was that you, John? Oh, thanks. We have a motion by Councilmember Rodenstein and second by Councilmember Hornby for the City Council approve resolution number 2024-23, confirming the mayoral appointment of Tom Wacholder to the office of Director of Public Works. Any comments, discussion?
Is he here?
He's not here right now, no.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Mr. Harmon.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Ryan Harmon, Engineering Services Manager for our Public Works Department. I'm here asking for authorization to award the construction contract for our South Wenatchee Avenue Sidewalk Gap Filler Project to Rudnick and Sons. Quick little background on the project. Every 3 years, I believe, we get some or go after some funding from Transportation Improvement Board TIB Complete Streets program. In this, we've established a work plan with some goals that we're looking to accomplish with these funds. One of the buckets of money is for just general sidewalk gaps, and we prioritize these based on proximities to schools, where these gaps are, access to transit. And through this process, we came up with this project that we're looking at today, which is the sidewalk gap on Wenatchee Avenue from just south of Viewdale to where Mission View Elementary starts. We had an engineer's estimate of the project was $114,000. We received 5 bids, with the lowest responsive bidder being $124,955. As I mentioned before, this aligns with the current construction budget allotment of $140,000 through that Complete Streets award. We're anticipating work to begin in July and take about 4 weeks to do. With that, I would open up to any questions.
This was already presented to
Finance
Finance Committee,
That's correct,
correct?
yes.
Okay.
I see Eater Construction had a 109, or what does it mean that it's non-responsive?
Absolutely. This question came up at the Finance Committee as well. And so when we're looking at construction contracts, as a public agency, we're required to go with the lowest responsive bidder. And so we look at a couple of things when analyzing the bids. Responsible is whether they're signed up to do public work through the different agencies. L&I looks at it if there's a department or anything like that. And then responsive goes to, or have they included everything required per the contract? And so on there you can see the asterisks highlighting that a couple of things were missed. A bid deposit, which is standard, it's included in our construction language, was not included with the bid for Eider Construction, for example. Another one was a non-collusion declaration form that's required. That was another contractor that had missed that. That's another standard language, just attesting to that they're not colluding on the bid.
Didn't you mention also one of those, they're kind of just starting to get into the project? I remember that.
And so that'd be similar to Eider Construction. We're
Okay.
very familiar with them in development review. They're doing a lot of great work building around town, and this would be kind of our first experience seeing them in a capital project. And so we have followed up and done autopsies of the bids with the proposers, and so that everything moving forward, they can be aware of that and do it responsibly.
I'll make a motion for the city council to award the construction contract for South Wenatchee Avenue Sidewalk Gap Filler Project, City Project Number 2304, to the lowest responsive bidder, Rudnick and Sons LLC, and authorize the city administrator to sign the contract documents.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Atkinson, second by Councilmember Cuevas, for City Council to award the construction contract for the South Wenatchee Avenue Sidewalk Gap Filler Project, City Project Number 2304, to the lowest responsible bidder, Rudnick and Sons LLC, and authorize the city administrator to sign the contract documents. Any comments or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Kelsey Grover. I am the Stormwater Technician, and tonight I bring forward a motion for Council to authorize the City Administrator's signature on the interlocal agreement for the development and implementation of the Stormwater Management Program with Wenatchee Valley College. So a little bit of background about this interlocal agreement. The city and Wenatchee Valley College are currently co-permittees under the Eastern Washington Phase 2 Municipal Stormwater Permit. The current permit is set to expire on July 31st, 2024, with a new permit expected later this summer. We have actually applied to continue coverage through the Department of Ecology. We've applied to continue coverage with the college as co-permittees for the next permit, and we're eligible to do so because the college's stormwater system is located within the municipal stormwater boundary of the city. We are proposing to renew the interlocal agreement with Wenatchee Valley College, which is set to expire on the same day as the stormwater permit, so July 31st. And this agreement is intended to implement and develop the stormwater management program, which is set forth in the requirements of the municipal stormwater permit. And as of right now, we are expecting that the new permit will become effective on August 1st of 2024. Staff time associated with this interlocal agreement will include reviewing and updating stormwater management program documents, GIS mapping of their stormwater facilities and other infrastructure, education and outreach, and the maintenance of some of their stormwater facilities. So staff time associated with the implementation of the stormwater management program and permit compliance is associated and comes from the stormwater utility budget, which is 410 or Fund 410. And per the terms of this interlocal agreement, we will not be billing the college more than $10,000 a year for their services. And this is additional to the stormwater utility fees that they pay monthly as other private property owners do. This interlocal agreement would become effective August 1st, 2024, and expire on July 31st of 2029, which is the term of the upcoming municipal stormwater permit. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
It should be noted you came to Public Works, and
Yes.
we went through this with 3 of the city council people earlier.
Yes.
Yes.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion for the city council to authorize the city administrator's signature on the interlocal agreement for the development and implementation of stormwater management with Wenatchee Valley College.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Hornby and second by Councilmember Rostian for city council to authorize the city administrator's signature on an interlocal agreement for the development and implementation of stormwater management with the Wenatchee Valley College. Any discussion or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, Jessica Shaw, Deputy Public Works Director. And the next item I have for you tonight, even though it's an action item, actually requires no action. I'm simply here to give you some updates on our 5th and Emerson emergency stormwater main repair. We were here in May asking for approval of a resolution to move forward with this as an emergency. And so as of now, we have a contract with Sullivan Construction to get that repaired. We also have funding from the Public Works Board. They provided us a loan, a 20-year loan at 1.38% interest, and it also includes a 15% grant. So that's very exciting that we qualified for that. And
At this point in time, there's been some additional work that we've needed to do with regards to the funding, and so we just finished up our cultural resources review yesterday, so we are ready to go, and so we should be starting any day now. Parts have already been ordered. We're anticipating the project will take 2 to 3 weeks, and we're working on traffic control plans to make sure that we're mitigating traffic in that area, providing for pedestrians. We know this is a really high traffic area on Fifth Street between Emerson and Chelan. So trying to get the word out to folks, have a really solid plan for managing traffic, and going to try and get in there and get that pipe replaced. So a little background, this is a 42-inch stormwater main, so it's a pretty big pipe. It was put in 1969, and it's corrugated metal, and as some of you have heard Adam in our collections department talk about, those metal pipes don't last very long in the soil. In fact, 1969, it's at the end of its life. So it served its time, and we're going to put a new pipe in there. Is there any questions I can answer about the project?
What's the new pipe made of?
Plastic.
Nice, and
Yep.
that'll last long.
It'll last 100 plus years.
Great. Cool.
And then Jessica, didn't we talk about looking at that pipe and seeing if some of it could be lined so that we wouldn't have to dig up the full length of that pipe to replace it?
Yes, that is correct. So once we had the emergency identified, we did look at trying to do some lining of the pipe. Unfortunately, because of the size of the pipe, the cost differential wasn't that great, and we also had the pipe was pretty badly damaged. So there was a 2-foot hole, and then there's another 35-foot section. So, you know, if there's a small hole in the pipe, we can go in and repair that and go ahead and line it, and that can be some cost savings versus digging it up. But in this particular case, the pipe is in such poor condition that trying to go in and make all those repairs is pretty much the same cost, if not more, than just digging it up and replacing it. But we have added to our list of projects to keep an eye on other sections of the same pipe, also from 1969, that are not in good shape and that are a candidate for lining. So while we'll dig up and replace this 320 feet, we are looking at lining the rest of this section of pipe on Fifth Street in the future, so we don't have to dig it up.
Good idea.
That's what I was remembering is the rest of the pipe, not this section. We knew this section had to be dug up and replaced.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So no action required. Any other questions for Jessica on this matter?
Thank you.
Thank you guys for your support. Appreciate it. All right, so our next item is a motion for City Council to adopt a couple of ordinances that would amend the Public Works Department fees and also some of our one sewer connection fee, and then our water service meter fees. So last year, and almost every year, we have Financial Consulting Services Group come in and take a look at our rates. And this year, we also had them, well, last year into this year, had them look at some of our fees and just make sure these were fees that we hadn't looked at in a while, and just make sure that we were recovering costs. You know, our goal is not to make money because we're not for profit, but we definitely want to make sure that the services we're providing, that we're charging a fair price for that and we're recovering those costs. So back in May, I presented to the Finance Committee recommendations from staff, and we recommended that we make some fee changes to some of our inspection fees. So the first ordinance 2024-13, the Public Works fees. First of all, it updates our collection fees. This is the cost for the sewer cleaning or stormwater cleaning that might happen with new construction, and also the video inspection of new construction that the city provides as a service. We occasionally also work for other jurisdictions, providing cleaning and video inspection, since you know, we have that equipment and a lot of other utilities don't have that. So we found that our fees were not quite covering our staff costs and the costs of that equipment. So we're recommending updating that. And one other change that staff had recommended was having a flat fee for development for some of the smaller developments. So it speeds up, makes it more efficient for our billing processes, and also makes it more upfront for developers to understand what their costs are going to be. Because otherwise in the past, we've just been waiting till we went out and did the project, and then we would have to give them a bill, and it just depended on how long it took. So I think this will streamline things and make our costs
for the development much more upfront. So we're proposing that it would be a flat fee of $480 for developments that have up to 150 feet of sewer and storm main. And then for projects up to 350 feet, it would be a flat fee of $960. And then after that, which are going to be your much bigger developments, it would be the hourly rates that we would bill them. So the other changes to that Public Works fees are we updated our right-of-way permit fee and deferred improvement agreements to $150. Again, this is because of staff time and inspector time and vehicles to go out in the field to do some of these inspections. And then we also added a re-inspection fee. And this would be used cautiously, you know, if there was a situation where we were out there multiple times, probably more than 2 or 3 times, then we would probably add this re-inspection fee, but it would not be a regular occurrence. We want to help people get things right. So the basic inspection fee will cover multiple visits to start with, but if it continues on, then we would have this re-inspection fee, which is consistent with the building department's inspection fees. Also, you'll note that I removed the sewer connection fee, and that's because it was redundant with another section and they weren't necessarily the same. So this is just cleaning up the code. The second ordinance is for the sewer code, and this one's pretty straightforward. We are essentially just updating that sewer connection fee, and that's the only change to the code in that ordinance. And the last one, this one has a few more changes to it. This primarily is updating the water meter installation. So water, as we know, cost of water meters has gone up significantly, as well as the cost of staff. And so the changes we've made are just to make sure we're recovering the cost of all the parts and equipment and the time it takes for staff to go out and do that work. The other key component, and this is a lot of the red line and changes in the written portion of it, are to make sure that if a customer requests a new service where the city has to go cut the road, that we're able to restore the road, and that cost of that restoration is paid by the customer and not by the city. So sometimes the road restoration can be very expensive, especially if the water main is across several lanes of traffic. And so we want to make sure that if that cost is borne by the person who is proposing the additional service or development. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have at this time.
I know a few of the city council people reached out to you, and I'm hoping everybody got a chance to go through it. But out of curiosity, because I don't know, what were a couple of the questions the city council asked you? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so some of the questions were about like the technology fee, and that's not something that we're changing, but it's been in there. That helps recover, that's on all of our permits, and it helps recover the cost to be able to update the software that we use and to pay for the software fees. Some of the opportunities with that is customers can apply for permits online, and so to be able to provide that service, that technology fee helps cover that. Let's see, what other questions do we have?
That was a good question.
That was a very good question, yes. Some questions about other permit fees. I forgot to add too that this will not be effective until January 1, because we don't want to surprise anybody with it. We want to make sure that we're letting customers know that these fees are changing. It gives staff time to do some education and outreach as folks come in, especially people that work with us and know what our fees are, that, hey, we got something new coming. So even though if you're interested in approving this tonight, it will not be effective till the first of the year. So.
Any other questions?
Your Honor, I'll move for City Council to adopt ordinance number 2024-13, amending the Public Works Department fees, ordinance number 2024-14, amending sewer connection fees, and ordinance number 2024-15, amending the water service fees.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Harold and second by Councilmember Ewer for City Council to adopt ordinance number 2024-13, amending the Public Works Department fees, ordinance number 2024-14, amending sewer connection fees, and ordinance 2024-15, amending the water service fees. Any other discussion or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank you.
council, who's replacing the operations manager?
I am, Your Honor.
Oh, great to see you.
Steve Smith.
That's probably I probably had to say that, right? Great to see you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. I appreciate the sincerity. Good evening, Mayor and Council. So I'm here replacing Aaron Kelly on the topic of a new lease agreement with Rivercom. Rivercom currently has a lease with the city for space on the third floor of the new police station. I think of it as the new police station, but it's actually been there over 20 years now. But anyways, a 20-year lease. They lease 6,025 square feet. The lease is expiring this month, so we needed to have a new lease. The new lease is a 5-year term with an option to extend the lease for an additional 5-year term. The first 5 years is at the same rental rate as currently exists, which is $1 per year. The next 5-year rate will increase to the market rate. The lease language basically stays the same with a couple of significant exceptions. That is that the parking for the tenant can be eliminated if on 14 days notice, probably only if the city loses its parking because of the YMCA, whatever their plans are with their building. So we can take away the parking from Rivercom in that event. And then the other thing pertains to facility maintenance, where Rivercom will be required to pay 100% of the repair and maintenance costs of the HVAC and mechanical systems that serve their occupied area. So that's a new expense for them. There are a couple changes to the lease that occurred after the version went to you in the council packet and today. And the change is that a new provision was added that if Rivercom constructs a new facility, then the city has the right to negotiate with Rivercom at that point to allow them to continue using it, which would be, they can talk about, we can negotiate a new rental amount, or we can terminate the use if we can't reach an agreement. So basically, if it no longer is their primary point of service for the public calls, then we have the right to negotiate a new arrangement or terminate them so that we can use it for our own purposes. So that was a kind of a big change. So the bottom line there is that Rivercom doesn't have an unfettered right to just keep this for the next 10 years, even if they build a new facility. Does that make sense? So that's basically it. Otherwise, it's pretty similar to the former lease.
Had a couple of city council people call me with some questions. Do we have any other questions for Steve?
He just answered mine, which was if they move, what does that mean? So, and in terms of the parking too, you had mentioned that that can be taken away at any point too, but it doesn't mention the amount of stalls that they get. Is that stay the same as it was before?
That's my understanding. It's based on the same Exhibit A that was attached to the first lease.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hearing no other questions, I'd entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion for City Council to approve the lease agreement with Rivercom for a portion of space at the police station and authorize the city administrator to sign the lease on behalf of the city of Wenatchee.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Ewer and second by Councilmember Harold for City Council to approve the lease agreement with Rivercom for a portion of space at the police station and authorize the city administrator to sign the lease on behalf of the city of Wenatchee. Any comments or discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Council. Thanks, Mayor.
Let's see, Mr. DeVries.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Pleased to be here before you this evening to have a recommendation for a consultant group to assist the city in their comprehensive plan update process and doing a EIS. Next slide. Oh, I guess that's me, huh? Okay. Maybe. Space bar. Okay, there we go. We have a variety of funding sources for this update process. We have 3 Department of Commerce grants for housing, our periodic update dollars, and then climate change for $312,000. Also, the City Council has authorized up to $100,000 for our transportation element. And then we have some additional community development department resources to fund this effort. We went through a consultant selection process with the city team. We had 4 great submittals. We were really excited about that. The city review team recommends Burke Consulting Group, and the sub-consultants Makers, the Transpo Group, and Parametrics to work on this process with us. They have a lot of local and a lot of state experience working on these areas. They have a lot of relevant expertise and can hit the ground running for us and have a lot of community knowledge. They're a highly qualified project team, and they'll augment staff's resources really well and serve the community well to meet our requirements, but look forward to setting community goals in a meaningful way. This is a big update. Our next update won't be for 10 years, so we'd be excited to have them assist us with this process. A lot of small numbers here, but what I wanted to just, they'd be assisting us, the city, and the community on a variety of components. Some of the biggest components that I'm really excited about, though, are our visioning process. The city hasn't gone through a significant visioning process since 2007. So we'd be excited to do that, but then have a robust public participation process carrying us all the way through adoption to have a real transparent, engaged opportunity for the public. One of the other larger items is a transportation element. Things have gotten fairly complex, and there are opportunities for things the city would like to see out of their transportation element that the Transpo Group could provide that would really help us with transportation planning projects in the future and for development review and potential code changes. So we'd be excited to have them help on a transportation element. One of the largest items is a climate change and resiliency sub-element. This is a new Growth Management Act requirement, and by the legislature, the state was required to fully fund us for that. And so that is a significant component of this project. One of the other, in addition to helping in a variety of other components in support of staff, one of the other largest is for our environmental review. We haven't had a environmental impact statement since 2007. At a certain point, your foundation for environmental review, your fundamental assumptions change, and you need that update. You can no longer supplement it with studies. You need to do a new study. And that would be out for review at the same time as the draft document, and the public would have a chance to participate in that as well. So we'd be excited to update that as part of this. We would start, spacebar, we would start this month if we were authorized, and that would carry through all the way until the end of June 2026 with adoption. After that, we would have to do a critical areas update, which the city will be staffing themselves. But it would be a 2-year process with a lot of opportunity for the public to be involved. So we'd be really excited about that process, and we would recommend that the City Council authorize the city administrator to enter into contract with Burke Consulting for the City of Wenatchee Comprehensive Plan Update and Environmental Review and EIS, as generally described in the attached proposal from Burke, to be finalized and complete and final contract and scope of work an amount of $438,100. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Hi, Glenn, it's Keith. Hey, you mentioned that the state is reimbursing us for, is it just the climate study or the environmental impact study portion of it?
The component that's fully funded is the climate change. We are receiving some funds for our periodic update. Those don't fully cover our costs. And then we have some additional funds on housing, but the funds we're receiving from the state do not cover the whole process. We're fortunate to have some very great, competent staff. It'll be all hands on deck. All of us will be helping, and staff's excited to be working on the update. But we feel that the expertise of the consultants will augment staff's resources really well, and that we can put together a really good process and product for the city.
Okay, so just to clarify, I mean, this is a requirement that we have to do, but the state does not fund us to do that except for this one small portion. Is that correct?
The fully funding component was associated with climate change, and in fact, the legislature delayed going forward with these requirements until the funding component for climate change could be part of this. So the rest of the components, the requirements of the state, the new changes are not fully funded.
But we're required.
But we are required to do them nonetheless, and
We are required by the state to do them out of our own pocket.
but it's at the same time it's an opportunity. The plan, lots change in our community, and while we do have requirements to address, there are local choices, and it's a plan for the community. So there's a lot of local choice, and we're excited to have the public involved in that process.
Thanks, Glenn.
You bet.
Any other questions for Glenn?
Your Honor, I'll make a motion for City Council to authorize the city administrator to enter into a contract with Burke Consulting, Inc. for the City of Wenatchee Comprehensive Plan Update and Environmental Review as generally described in the proposal from Burke to be finalized in a complete and final contract and scope of work in the amount of $438,100.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Hornby and second by Councilmember Rothstein for City Council to authorize the city administrator to enter into a contract with Burke Consulting Incorporated for the City of Wenatchee Comprehensive Plan Update Environmental Review, as generally described in the proposed from Burke to be finalized in a complete and final contract and scope of work in the amount of $438,100. Any other comments or discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
This will be exciting. You can give us updates, I don't know, every 6 months or whatever.
Sorry.
I'd be curious on this process. It'd be the first time for a lot of us to see this, so maybe it's, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be doing updates, and we'll be wanting to get a schedule and opportunities for public engagement and involvement out as soon as possible.
So you can send all that to the city council if we want to show up at whatever outreach program you're going to have, or.
Definitely.
Yeah, perfect. Good.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, let's see, we are, mayor's report. I am the chair for Rivercom, and they've been working on a interlocal agreement to get it finalized. It's like taken forever. One of the things that's coming up is it passed, which I voted no for, just so you guys know, but it passed, and I want to bring it, for transparency, I want to bring it to you, but it talks about the voting members. They want to change it from 5 to 7. I'm going to ask staff to look into it and present it to you, and then let you guys make the final decision on that. So I want to make sure that'll be coming maybe in August. It's not a rush thing. It's been going on for months. Years, something, yeah. And Keith might end up having a comment about that also here in a minute. But I also participated in a state audit entrance conference, and I think there was a city council person that got to that. Thank you, Tom, for doing that for me. Also a reminder, this week is Mr. Jammerman's and our IT head department, Dale Cantrell's, last week, and truthfully, dedication for their service. When I have to call on Saturday, which is not too often, but there's no hesitation to pick up and help us out. So thank you seriously for your dedication. I know I tease you a lot, but it means a lot when I know that staff's there to help out our city. For anybody in our city that tremendously has helped me out when I was on city council, and it's helped me out as being mayor. So thank you. Councilmember Ewer has a museum. She needs help with, we need a reappointment for the schedule. It doesn't work in her schedule, so we need to think about that. You can talk a little bit maybe in a minute about that.
Sure.
And let's see. Thank you for everybody being here today, and just a friendly reminder, if you can't make it to a work session or like even a committee, if you can just let me know or our city clerk know so we can kind of arrange that. That helps me up to make sure we got a quorum and things are going great on that. So appreciate everybody being here. Laura, is there anything else that's there that you can think of? If not, that's okay. Okay, great. How about the rest of the city council? What have you guys been up to? Let's start with Chelsea.
Oh, boy, okay. Well, what do you want me to speak to first? Did you want me to mention about the museum?
Yeah,
or-
help us out. Yeah.
So the museum timeframe, the board meets on Wednesday. I want to say it's the second Wednesday of every month. Is that right, Tom? From 4:30 to about 6:30, along with some other, they've had a few retreats and things for all the planning, the big project they have coming up. So just so happens that Wednesday evenings are just a real challenge for my family. So I've tried very hard to make it work, but I haven't been very successful, and I really, I think that the partnership with them is really important. So if I can't fulfill those duties, I want to make sure that we find somebody that can, so we support them in the way that they need from the city. So that's the challenge with that.
If somebody's interested on the city council, email her and maybe exchange if there's another committee or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm happy to exchange or
ideas, and
yeah.
If somebody's interested right now, they could speak up or think about it and let us know how we can figure this out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yep. Let's see, the other thing, I was presented some information from Chelan County in regard to the Purple Heart Trail, which I shared. I believe I forwarded that to the mayor. It's a pretty cool program that they're hoping to get all the local municipalities in on together. So I believe the city of East Wenatchee has already agreed to do so, obviously Chelan County, and they're hoping to get Douglas County on board as well. And essentially what it would be is designating us as a Purple Heart City. There would be a proclamation that we would read, and then they're hoping to put together a community event on August 7th. The purpose behind this is to show respect and recognition to those who have sacrificed so much for our country. So it's a pretty neat thing. It would, the cost, depending on if we wanted to do anything in addition to those Purple Heart recipients within city limits, that's one thing which we can talk about in more detail later as the county's doing as well. Essentially, it would be a welcome sign at each city entrance that would say we are a Purple Heart City to show that acknowledgement, and then in partnership with the other municipalities on August 7th. So throwing that out there in case anyone else thinks that might be a good idea.
Councilmember Cuevas, Harold?
Say that, what was your question?
Do you have anything else? What do you have to report for us?
Okay, I'm sorry. Councilmember Atkinson and I both attended the AWC conference last week, and it was great, as always. Lots of learning, lots of good things. One of the committees I'm on is the Legislative Priorities Committee, and we had our second meeting. We'll be meeting again. We hope to wrap things up. Well, our next meeting is July 25th. We hope to wrap things up in September. So the staff there can begin their work, working with the legislators. important things that they talked about, that we talked about, were public safety. There's quite a few things they want to just see that it's completely supported. They want a crisis co-responder program. Law enforcement recruitment and retention continues to be a problem in all cities, and we just want to work with the legislator to make sure that we're doing the most we can. Juvenile crime. Another thing that we talked about quite a bit, we want to support their efforts to prevent and address juvenile crime. A public safety sales tax. This would support a bill to allow councilmatic implementation of public safety sales tax and increase city maximum rate to parity with county rate. Therapeutic courts, community courts, diversion programs. There's a lot of talk around that. Indigent defense, and the work with the legislature to address misdemeanor caseload standards. Housing affordability is really high on the list. What we can do to help with that, for housing revenue, rent stabilization, increase the supply of housing, and preserve mobile home parks. Apparently, there's been a lot of problems with that, and they want to make sure that they can preserve those because they are more affordable housing than what a lot of people can afford, and they're still working on that and digging into it. Homeless response. They want to support encampment cleanup work in cities and private lands. So that keeps going. There was a lot of talk about Grants Pass. I understand there won't be a decision until I think next week regarding Grants Pass. The Supreme Court announced that. So we're waiting to hear on that, and there'll be more talk about it. Transportation, of course, transportation is always important, and there's just ongoing. Solid waste. There is a RAP Act, and don't ask me for details because I need to look it up. Something else I was really pleased to see was increased treatment through behavioral health, and so we really desperately need that in order to address our homeless problems, so there's a huge emphasis on that. Fiscal sustainability. They said addressing the arbitrary 1% cap, and this is on property tax. So what they want to do is enable us to be able to increase it more than 1%, which is, I don't like to do it, but it's something that I would have to support just simply because that helps support our roads and our streets. So that would be very important. And then general government human resources. If you want the detailed list, let me know. I'll email it out to you. I'll be sending it to you, Mayor Poirier, as well. And it was a good meeting. We're going to meet again on July 25th and go over more options. Their staff there is amazing at AWC. They really know their stuff and they really work hard. Just done a great job of putting all of this together.
Thanks for going. I know every time you go, you learn a whole bunch more stuff.
Oh my gosh.
It's never ending. So there's a couple of things I wrote down, so I'm interested in that list. So
I'll get it emailed.
yeah, send it to Tammy, and then she can spread it to all of us.
Okay, I will do that.
That'd be great to do that.
Yeah.
So we should start with Councilmember Atkinson because he can lead on with the AWC maybe a little bit too. So what was it like for your first year going?
Well, I got to carry the flag of the city of Wenatchee, so I proudly planted it. Unfortunately, with a W, we're kind of at the end of the line, but I did make it in there, and Yakima follows us, so yeah.
Yay.
And that's rightfully so, I might say, I might add, yeah. Anyway, I enjoyed the conference. They do an excellent job. It's well run. Great keynote presentation on For the Love of Cities by Peter, and I won't try to butcher his last name. So
do it either.
Yeah. Went to a session on youth involvement in city government. It was really interesting. Met the mayor of Auburn as she chaired that session. They have a junior city council, fully functioning junior city council. In fact, when city council goes on vacation, the junior city council, no, I'm just joking.
I like the vacation.
Yeah, I like the vacation part too, yeah. Anyway, I also attended a session on a jobs program for homeless folks in Fife, where they connect them and they train them and they work in the parks, and Yeah, there's some interesting things, a lot of good information, so. And then I just wanted to, you all saw that, well, maybe you haven't, but you got an email about a person who lives in my district that's interested in knowing if the council is interested in a bike advisory council. Had some conversations with Councilmember Hornby about that and with Glenn. And so if you have any thoughts, I'd be welcome to hear those so I can get back to him on that.
Maybe we'll, Councilmember Huffaker, do you have some things before we go to Councilmember Hornby?
Well, the only thing I wanted to go back to was your comment about Rivercom, and I guess the big concern I have is, you know, a lot of times when you get a lot of members on a board, it makes it tougher to make good decisions, and sometimes it dilutes the vote a little bit. And I think in a lot of entities, even in our larger governments, you know, you represent the bulk of the voters and people by having a representative for so many people. And it's always been the 4 largest entities of Rivercom that have had chairs on the board. So I think for them to do this is a mistake, and I agree with you. I think we should look and see if this is, you know, because they kept hounding it. You know, they've talked about this for years. They would bring it up. It would get voted down, and it was like the kid who didn't get the answer they wanted. They just keep coming back until they got the answer they wanted, and I just feel that was a wrong move on their part.
I'll second that, Keith. In the short term that I was there on Rivercom, it was brought up twice and voted down twice. Now it's back again, and that's my short tenure on Rivercom.
Anything else, Councilmember Huffaker?
That's all for me.
All right. Who's next?
I guess I am. I got 2 quick things. One, I went to a meeting that the mayor bailed on because he saw me there. I guess I represented well enough. It is with the chamber doing some advisory work for the Chelan Douglas Regional Port Authority, talking about the airport. Additional flights, what that would look like. A lot of things came out of it. One is looking at a 3rd flight, trying to get back to pre-COVID numbers of possibly a 3rd flight, but also came out of that is trying to increase the services that are at the airport. So what are we advertising for? Why do we want people to come here and visit? A lot of it's recreation. But we don't have services, meaning they can't rent large vehicles to transport skis and bikes and those kinds of things. Also, you can't go from the hotel to the airport. You have to do it on your own. So looking at all of those types of services too. So it was a good conversation. SWOT analysis and giving more recommendations to the Regional Port Authority. The Economic Committee for the WDA, the Downtown Association, went well. They got some good ideas to spur economic growth. So that was my additional meetings this week.
Thank you.
And then the chair, Mayor.
Hey, Travis, I'll throw in one more caveat on the airport. I've had several coworkers try and come in on the weekend, and you can't even rent a car on the weekend. So a lot of people now, instead of flying to Wenatchee, are flying to Seattle and renting a car from there, especially this time of year. And somehow they have to get that fixed so that you can rent a car on the weekend. You know, if there's a flight coming in, there ought to be cars available to rent.
Well said.
I just want to add a comment to that. The biggest complaint I get is that people that are coming here for a conference or even business travel, that they have to go through Seattle to get here. We're not going to be able to change that anytime soon. There would have to be some major things happening to get that done. But I hear that a lot. It's a frustration. It also keeps us from attracting a lot of the Northwest conferences here because of the ability to fly to Wenatchee.
We are on an island.
Is that every 3 months or every month? What'd they say the next meeting is?
I
I'm
don't
gonna,
remember.
seriously, I'm gonna bail out of that because you do represent us well
Oh,
in
come
that
on, you do a
field.
better job than me.
So I appreciate it.
No, really, Mayor, you do.
No, any other announcements? Hearing none, the exciting thing I like to do is a motion to adjourn, which drives me nuts, but who can help me with that?
Your Honor, I'll make a motion to adjourn meeting.
Second.
There's been a motion and seconded to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting closed.